Hi, I'm Charles Purcell, and this is The Log. Corporate funding provided by... no corporate funding. Sorry, no corporate funding. Additional funding is provided by... No additional funding either. Do we have any funding? All right, no funding. Okay. Hey, I played T-shirt roulette again this morning. I play T-shirt roulette every time I put on a T-shirt. That is, I don't bother to look to see if I'm putting it on frontwards or backwards. You know, most T-shirts, they don't have the old-fashioned labels anymore. They've got it printed. You used to be able to kind of see it or feel it really quickly, which is the back and which is the front of the neck. But now it takes a little effort. So a while back, I decided to give up on that effort. And for quite a while now, I've just been playing T-shirt roulette. That is, I just put it on without any thought at all as to which is the front and which is the back. I figured, well, I'll just take my chances. It's a 50-50 shot, right? That I'll get it right. And if I'm wrong, I just turn it around quickly. Okay, so, yeah, I've noticed in T-shirt roulette that I'm wrong. That is, I have to do it over. I have to turn it around. I don't know, it seems like 80% of the time, which is not natural, right? It should be about 50%. Not exactly 50%, but like flipping a coin, it should be about 50%. Now, I've never actually recorded the findings of this. It's just a perception. So I'm thinking that it probably is, if I actually recorded the findings, it probably is close to 50% of my T-shirt roulette. But my perception is more 80-20. So now that says something really terrible about me. I've got this very negative perception. I wonder. I didn't think I had. I thought I was a pretty positive guy. Oh, sure, I rant and rave here about the conditions of the world. Of course I do. But that's just my way of showing my love for the world, for you. I want the world to be a better place for all of us. So I rant and I rave about its shortcomings. But I didn't think I had a negative attitude. I'm going to have to re-examine my whole life here. This T-shirt roulette has got me rethinking everything here. Because my perception is that 80-20, 80% of the time I get it wrong, I have to turn it around. But that can't be right. It's the whole, it's just like choosing one of two grocery checkout lines, right? They're both about the same length. You choose one. It might even be a little bit shorter. That's why you choose it. And which line is going to move faster? Well, the other line, every time, right? But of course, again, that's just perception. If you randomly chose one of two grocery lines 100 times, roughly 50% of the time you're going to move as fast or faster than the other line. But it sure doesn't feel that way, does it? No, our brains. Human brains. What the hell is wrong with them? They are weird little things, the human brains. Well, let's see here. Hey, I watched The Last Days of Immanuel Kant. And I lost the link now. I don't remember who first recommended it. It just came up. It just popped up in my social feed. And I neglected to save that because I wanted to thank you. That's kind of the beauty of the social media feed, right? Just friend of a friend of a friend just somehow pops up into your world. And thanks to the algorithms who are trying to figure me out all the time, they knew that I would probably like that sort of thing. Those non-human mathematical equations that are always trying to read my mind. Well, they got this one right. Yeah, The Last Days of Immanuel Kant. Pretty great. Kind of a Jim Jarmusch style. Very minimalist, black and white. A series of scenes separated by a second or two of black. Very minimalist. Director Philippe Collin. It was a French film. Just kind of short, only about an hour. Depicting the final days of Immanuel Kant, of course, the German philosopher. Although he says at one point in the film that he wasn't German, and I thought he was. I'm not sure what he meant by that. Maybe one of his parents wasn't German? Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy tells us, let's see. Well, Wikipedia says he's German, German philosopher, but that's Wikipedia, which I use all the time. But let's go to Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy. Born April 22nd, 1724 in Königsberg, near the southeastern shore of the Baltic Sea. Today, Königsberg has been renamed Kaliningrad and is part of Russia. But during Kant's lifetime, Königsberg was the capital of East Prussia, and its dominant language was German. Though geographically remote from the rest of Prussia and other German cities, Königsberg was then a major commercial center, an important military port, and a relatively cosmopolitan university town. Okay, so, okay, that clears that up, I guess. All right, but that's neither here nor there. I'm not going to spend too much time worrying about that. He wrote in German. You know, when I was a student, I had this wonderful fantasy of learning German so I could read Kant and Marx and Hegel in their original German. And this was just a wonderful idea. This is a wonderful fantasy that I would become well-versed in German. I didn't care so much if I spoke it well. I wanted to be able to read it well and read all this great German philosophy in its original language. I thought, wow, what a good idea. So I took a semester of German. Boy, did I struggle. Oh, my goodness. University studies were generally not that difficult for me. I was a good student. And things that were difficult, I really was very disciplined, and I hammered my way through it. And so I was a relatively good student. But I failed miserably at language. I tried Italian, I tried German, and both of them were just so difficult for me. I took a couple semesters of each, and wow, just felt like I was underwater the entire time. Not good. So as a result, here I speak nothing except my own little colloquial English. I'm very sad to say. But, yeah, the last days of Immanuel Kant, if you're into Jim Jarmusch minimalist black and white kind of film, and if you're into classic Western philosophy, it's not very philosophical, actually. It's more about his idiosyncrasies as a person. And it's just this really kind of fascinating character study. And there are a couple of scenes where they talk a little philosophy. One especially nice scene where you've got some buddies over, and they're having dinner. But, yeah, mostly just a character study. And as he gets older and nearer death, he becomes a little more childlike. And there's definitely elements of humor in the film. So there's your recommendation for today. 1994. I'd never seen it, heard of it. Again, just came up randomly in my social feed. Yeah, you know, just the scrolling. I know it's supposed to be bad for us, but I come across the most wonderful things sometimes. I'm not going to apologize for the time I spend scrolling. I think it's time well spent, actually. Yeah, you know, I suppose there are times when I do it a little longer than I should. Any sort of addictive activity, you've got that weird little feeling, yeah, I really should get up and get some exercise, or I've had to go to the bathroom now for 5 minutes and I really should get up and do that. It's time to fix a meal. I suppose there are times like that, if I'm being 100% honest. But I just find my scrolling time to be kind of wonderful much of the time. I really do. And you get that little notice from your phone about your screen time. Oh, your screen time, it's either up or it's down. They give you a little percentage. It's 9% higher than it was last week, or it's 8% lower or whatever. And it's X amount of minutes or X amount of hours you spent in a day or a week. I don't know. They give you the average. But I always found that to be really not very helpful at all. Because there's screen time, and then there's screen time. According to my phone, the time I spend reading an in-depth article from a scholarly publication about important issues, if I spend an hour doing that, my phone doesn't differentiate that from an hour spent scrolling cat videos. So, yeah, the whole screen time notification I don't think is very helpful at all. Now, technology is so advanced, I would like to see them break that down. Like, how much time did you spend actually just scrolling? Just physically with the thumb, just up, keep scrolling. How much time did you spend doing that? I'm sure my phone can tell because it's this magical little devil in my hand. It can tell if I'm stopped on an article. It can tell by the pace at which I'm scrolling. Oh, he's reading an in-depth article. He's reading something dense right now. And it could record how long I did that. It's already doing this stuff anyway. I'm not advocating for more intervention into my soul. It's already doing this stuff. So go ahead and report it in my screen time notification. Because there are many, many different things you can be doing on your phone. You can be reading that in-depth article. You can be scrolling. You can be taking a deep dive into YouTube videos. If you're going to give me a notification on my screen time, tell me what I'm doing. Help me out a little bit. Because my perception probably isn't matched up that well with reality. It's like the T-shirt roulette. My perception is that 80% of the time I get it wrong and have to turn it around. But that's probably not right. Just based on sheer chance, probability. So, yeah, screen time notification. Help me out. That would be useful information for me to have. Because my perception is, and again, it could be way off. It probably is way off. I think that I spend most of my time reading in-depth articles. That's what I choose to believe about myself. And I bet that's what you choose to believe as well. If I'm on my phone, I'm reading something really important about the world, about life, about politics, nature, science. It's enriching me. It's educating me. That's what I think I'm doing on my phone most of the time. Now, if my phone can discern what I'm doing and give me the honest numbers, I'll believe you. But until then, that's my perception. 80-90% of the time, I'm doing quality reading. You know what I love? In the 20% of the time, I'm not reading in-depth articles. I've come to really like the First Time Hearing series of videos. Have you seen these on YouTube? It's these young guys, usually guys. I guess I've seen a couple with women, but it's usually guys, listening to a piece of music for the first time. And we get to see their reaction to it. And it's typically younger guys listening to older music. So, for example, this past weekend, I saw one of my favorites. Young guy listening to Nina Simone for the first time. He never heard of her. In fact, I think he briefly refers to her. I didn't quite catch it. I think he calls her Nina Simpson in the beginning. Anyway, he listens to Nina Simone's Feeling Good. Birds flying high, right? It's a new dawn. It's a new day. It's a new life. Feeling good. Nina Simone. Oh, Lord mercy. And we get to watch him react, and he just freaks out. Now, I don't know how much of this is natural. I don't know how much of this is put on. I don't care. They're really fun to watch. Sometimes it's one guy, sometimes it's a couple guys, and they'll listen to. I saw another one. He's listening to the Mamas and the Papas. All the leaves are brown and the sky is gray. What's that song? It's summer day. California Dreamin'. California Dreamin'. And they're always very positive reactions. They're into it. They might be laughing at the outfits. Like he mentions that the Mamas and the Papas look like they're characters out of Scooby-Doo, which is good. But it's a really kind of fun series. If you haven't checked it out, just go to YouTube and type in First Time Hearing, and you get a whole bunch of them. Young people listening to older music. And it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. And there's something really kind of sweet about it. Again, it's very positive always, at least the ones I've seen. Maybe there's some negative ones. I bet that would be another genre of people just mocking and saying, no, I hate this. I hate this music. This is terrible. That would be funny too. I haven't come across that. I've only seen the positive ones. And it is positive. You should be open to all music. You know me, I'm an older guy, and over the years, I'm always looking for new music that I like, and I often do. I'll be honest, not to say that I'm as in touch with current music as I was growing up. I'd be lying if I said that. But no, I'm always looking for music that I like, and I often like contemporary music. Sure. It's been my experience that through the years, go back centuries, the whole human history, you're going to find good and interesting music from around the world from the beginning of time up until today. And pigeonholing music into genres and time periods is pretty silly. So yeah, I like it when these young folks listening to music they hadn't yet discovered. Because as I've told you many times, that was my experience when I was a kid. I think you and I have talked about this before, how in the 70s, I wasn't crazy about what I was hearing on the radio, so I went looking. I went searching for other kinds of music, and that's when I discovered roots rock and roll. I discovered kind of the pioneers of rock and roll. I discovered folk music. I discovered jazz, all the stuff that wasn't on the radio. And that's what you had to do in those days. You really had to go seek it out. You had to go to the library. It's a lot easier now. So, yeah, first time hearing. Now, the one thing I will say about music, I don't know, have we talked about this before? I forgot. The music that's really out there, I will say this, and it's going to make me sound out of touch. I'll take that risk. There's an awful lot of music now that is much more repetitious than it was in the past, and it has jettisoned melody. Now, I'm not talking necessarily about rap or hip hop where there's no melody at all. It's spoken word art, basically. There was a point in popular music, pop and rock. I'm not quite sure when it happened. It happened over time, where melody, by and large, went away. Here, just for the fun of it, let's look up top 10 songs of the 1940s. All right, 1940s. White Christmas, Bing Crosby. Da 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 dee dee, ba da 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 da. Melody, definitely a very distinctive melody. Oddly enough, here's another Christmas song, the Christmas Song by Nat King Cole. Oh, now there's a melody. Da 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 do 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 do, bum bum ba da dee dee dee. Ba da 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 dee 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 do 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 da do 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 ba ba da do. Listen to those intervals. That is some intricate melody writing right there. Take the A Train, Duke Ellington. Ba 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 da ba 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 da da ba boo doo 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 doo. Slowed it down so you could hear those intervals. That is melody writing right there. Stardust. Oh, man. One of the great songs of all time. Ba-da-da-dee-dee-dee-dee-dee-dee-dee. Ba-da-dee-ah-dum. Da-dum-dee-da-ba-ba-da-dee. Ba-ba-da-dee-ah-doo-da-doo. Da-da-dee-dee-dee. Da-da-doo-doo-doo-doo. Stardust by Artie Shaw. Swinging on a Star, Bing Crosby. Melody. You Always Hurt the One You Love by the Mills Brothers. You always hurt the one you love, the one you shouldn't hurt at all. Yeah, up, down, intervals. Interesting, intricate. Oh, and here we go, the last one on this list I'm looking at. Boogie Woogie Bugle Boy by the Andrews Sisters. Now, that one I can't even... Here, let me find that for you, because I can't even do that. That's too hard for me. Well, let me play you a little bit of Boogie Woogie Bugle Boy.
He was a famous trumpet man from out Chicago way. He had a boogie style that no one else could play. He was the top man at his class. But then his number came up and he was gone with the draft. All
right, let's skip ahead to the to the break here, to the vocal solo.
He was a boogie bugle boy of Company B.
Okay, listen to this. This is amazing.
And when he played boogie bugle, he was busy as a blues bee. And when he plays, he makes the company jump into the bar. He's the boogie bugle boy of Company B.
All right, that is just insane. Oh, are you kidding me? Try to sing along with that. Your average listener is not going to be able to sing along with that. You're not going to be able to hit those intervals. That is melody writing right there. That is crazy good. So there, I just randomly went to top songs of the 1940s, and that's quite a list right there. And I'm not saying one period is better than another period. I'm not going to play that little game. Oh, music used to be great. But there are definite differences. All right, let's see how this advances here. Popular songs of the 50s and 60s. All right, now it really starts to change. Rock around the clock. 1, 2, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, rock. 5, 6, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, rock. 9, 10, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, rock. We're gonna rock. There's no melody. There's no melody. Ba 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 da. Ba 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 da. That is, it's like a children's song. It's there's no comparison. Top songs of the 50s and 60s. All right, let's go. Let's see here. Okay, so in the early 50s, there's a time here, a short time, when the old guard is trying to hang on, but with almost no luck at all. Love is a many splendored thing, 1955. Da 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 dee 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 dee. Oh, Autumn Leaves. Now there you go. See, that's 1955. Maybe the last great melody. Let me see. Now let me get this right. These are tough intervals to sing. Let's see. The autumn leaves. Ba dee dee dee. 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 Ba dee 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 dee. Ba da da dee doo dee dee dee. Ba da dee 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 dee. When autumn leaves start to... Yep. Very intricate, very nuanced melody writing there. Autumn Leaves, 1955. But by 1956, we're getting a Don't Be Cruel to a Heart That's True and a Hound Dog. You ain't nothing but a hound dog. Crying all the time. Now we got 2 or 3 chords in the entire song and a melody that just hangs on. Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. You ain't nothing but a hound dog. Melody is just disappearing. It's disappearing overnight. Buddy Holly, the Crickets. Well, that'll be the day when you say goodbye. That'll be the day when you make me cry. You say you're gonna leave. You know it's a lie, 'cause that'll be the day when I die. Music is changing. Now, it's fun. It's raucous. It's really wonderful and interesting in a million different ways. And I don't want to be falling into that trap that, oh, music used to be great and then it was destroyed. No, I'm just making the point that the importance of melody as an element of music was diminished so much as to just disappear. And I got to say, I really wish that we'd find somebody who could write a melody. So the top songs of the 1960s, of course, we got a lot of Beatles in here. A Day in the Life, there was some melody. I don't know. I read the news today, oh boy, about a lucky man who made the grade. And though the news was rather sad, well, I just had to laugh. I saw the photograph. Yeah, not really much of a comparison. Louie Louie. Louie Louie. Me gotta go. Yeah. Creedence, CCR, Creedence Clearwater Revival, big in the 60s. Bad Moon Rising. I see a bad moon rising. You see how it just sits there? Melodies, they're not going anywhere. There's no musicianship happening. Melody is just gone. Oh, one of the great songs of all time, Led Zeppelin, Whole Lotta Love. Who doesn't love that? I'm not saying these songs aren't great. I'm saying they have no melodies. It was just considered unimportant at this point. I want a whole lot of love. I want a whole lot of love. Down inside, I want a whole lot of love. Yeah, it's just not there. And of course, there are exceptions all over the place. And there are many different genres. But I'm just saying that the top songs, the ones that are really in our faces all the time. Okay, now we go to the 70s. Lean on Me, 1972, great sort of anthem. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on. Yeah, just kind of up and down the scale. Very simple melodies. Great songs for many different reasons, but no melody to speak of. As great a songwriter as Paul Simon is, often little effort put into the melody. It's all about the arrangement. It's all about the chord progressions. He's a very interesting and great songwriter. But you can almost improvise a melody. You can tell that's the way he's writing. And in fact, when he performs his song as a soloist, now it was different with Artie, right? Because with Garfunkel, they had to actually rehearse and get the melodies right because they were singing harmonies with each other. So that had to be worked out. But you notice when he started going solo, he would just sort of float that melody, almost an improvised melody, over the song. He wrote the song first and then just improvised a melody with something like, when I look back at all the crap I learned in high school, it's a wonder I can think it all. Just kind of riding the chord. Just sort of riding the chord up and down, riding the progression up and down. Practically improvising a melody. Yeah, I miss melody. That's what I'm saying. The 80s, of course, as you can imagine, a lot of Michael Jackson. Beat It, Billie Jean. Billie Jean is not my girl. Again, just riding the chord progression. It's all you're doing. Just kind of riding the chord progression. Prince, When Doves Cry. Yep, another example, I think, of that. Wow, the 80s. Looking at these titles here. Jump by Van Halen. Here, Betty Davis Eyes by Kim Carnes, 1981. Huge hit. No melody. None. Madonna, with all of her hits of the 80s. Is she going to be hitting us with intricate intervals? I don't think so. No. Phil Collins, one of his biggest hits. I can feel it coming in the air tonight. Just kind of ride it. Just ride it there for the whole song. That's all he ever does. Now, a lot of great things you can say about that song. Wonderful things you can say about that song. Does it have any kind of melody to speak of? No. Zero. None. That's all I'm saying. I'd love to have a melody just once in a while. We'll just love it. Find me one Bruce Springsteen song that has a melody. He's never written a melody in his life. He gives us the chords, writes the lyrics. Melody is never even considered for a minute. Find me one Bruce Springsteen song that has any kind of a melody, any discernible melody. So that's all I'm saying. I'd love some melody. All right. Well, this was our day off. Maybe once a week or so we try to take a day off from the headlines. So we'll get back to the headlines tomorrow, see if I have anything unique to say. I love you. Have a great day. I'm Charles Purcell. This is The Log. See ya.